All right, so good morning, everybody, and welcome to another exciting Moonblink webinar titled How to Centrally Manage a Network of Hotspots. My name is Travis Hawthorne, and I'm Moonblink's Marketing Coordinator. Today we have representatives from AllCity Wireless and TP-Link, both strategic partners of Moonblink, who are ready to show you their unique and cost-effective solution for managing hotspots. You know, whether you're looking to provide Wi-Fi for a small retail location or looking to manage a network of hotspots all around the world, the solution you will learn about shortly will hopefully simplify the process for you. AllCity Wireless is a manufacturer of its WiDirect platform that gives customers the ability to manage, monitor, customize, secure, and even monetize networks of all sizes. And TP-Link is a global leader in SOHO networking solutions, and its cost-effective APs work seamlessly with the WiDirect product. The bulk of the presentation will be delivered by Phil and Kate McQuaid of WiDirect. Phil is the VP of Sales and Kate is the Chief Marketing Officer. And then we'll also hear from Robert Garcia, the Account Executive from TP-Link, to discuss the features and benefits of using a TP-Link AP for your hotspot. And to let you know, if you have any questions, please type them into the chat box. And we'll devote some time at the end of the webinar to make sure to go over all your questions, and we'll have our panelists answer them. So with that, Phil and Kate, I'll let you guys begin.
Okay, well, thank you. My name is Philip McQuaid. I work here at AllCity Wireless. We make the WiDirect and WiClient product line. I'd like to thank everyone for joining today. So good morning or good afternoon based on where you're located. So with that, let's get started. For some time, the WiDirect has been in existence running Wi-Fi networks with respect to being directly connected in front of them. So with that experience, the AllCity Wireless team has found that there's quite a bit of need in the marketplace for having not only huge 150 to 1,000 AP networks managed, but also now smaller networks. And what I mean by smaller networks is maybe one AP or perhaps maybe 100 APs, but all in different locations. So the WiDirect has undergone a metamorphosis with respect to its WiClient architecture and how we approach networks. So some of the questions and some of the issues that we've been working on are how do you scale to multiple areas of coverage? And what I mean by that is, you know, one AP, 5 APs, 3 APs in one location that maybe be 1,000 locations involving that. How do you monetize, or excuse me, how do you maintain the network uptime? How do you understand, you know, how often your APs go down and that sort of thing? And that includes knowing how many people are on the network at any given point as well. User management, which of course is who you're going to let onto the network. And then user experience, what they see once they're in the network. Are they going to see advertising? Are they going to see something about maybe the retail location they happen to be in? Or are they going to have to pay to use the network? What speeds are they going to get? All these sorts of things. And then, of course, the hardware management. So things that you would consider like SSID management, SNMP monitoring, all those things. Public networks also lend themselves to the potential for risks. Risk mitigation would include things with port-to-port, or excuse me, peer-to-peer monitoring, illegal music downloads, and then, you know, other things that could be more serious, terrorism, pornography, things of that case. How do you monetize the network? Why would somebody want to put in Wi-Fi? Ideally, it's to make money. Now, whether that's making money by bringing more customers in the door, or making money by charging the people that use the Wi-Fi, or making money simply by showing advertising. And then, of course, all the reports that go along with all the things that I just mentioned. So reports of how many people use the network, reports of people doing illegal things, reports of how much money you collected, how many ads were shown, All these sorts of things are important to running a network, whether it be one AP, 5 APs in 1,000 locations, or 1,000 APs in a single location. So up until now, these things have all been hard to manage. They've been hard to monetize, and they're hard to customize. So the WiDirect has addressed these things, and it's really been driven by the proliferation of Wi-Fi in the public today. I think pretty much everyone on the call will understand this, that Wi-Fi is the most common denominator on any piece of handheld or laptop hardware, whether it be tablets, whatever. Everything's got Wi-Fi on it these days. So as the standard, why wouldn't you want to be able to communicate with those Wi-Fi devices through the Wi-Fi and do it in a controlled manner? So the solution in the enterprise or in the public or wherever needs to be flexible, needs to be able to adapt, and it needs to be put out in a way that insulates. So if your customers, or perhaps if you're the customer running the Wi-Fi network, you want to ensure that you're not going to get in trouble by people doing illegal things on your network, and you need to know that. The solution should really use the best of both worlds when it comes to back-end monitoring and back office, all the way up to interfacing with the customer, which would be through the wireless device. So the newest technologies, both sides, encompass really a total solution, and it's very valuable for whoever owns it, operates it, deploys it. And with that, I'll turn it over to Robert, and he can talk about the TP-Link radios.
Thank you, Phil. Hopefully everybody's having a good day today. I'm going to start it off with our access point, our TL-WA901ND. It's the access point that you can actually use with the AllCity Wireless, with their server, with their, to be able to provide the wireless signal. You will definitely be needing a firmware, which Phil will be going over in a bit with that. A little bit about our access point itself. It does go up to 300 megabits per second. It's an 802.11n AP. It does support up to 30 meters of power over Ethernet. With that, it does come with a PoE injector, which you can actually have in near your router or your switch itself. And it also does support the Wi-Fi multimedia, which assures the quality of voice over IP and or multimedia streaming. So if you're going to be doing any kind of voice over IP with this, let's just say if you have a client that's going to be using some phones or so, you're able to use it with the AP itself. It does support up to 4 SSIDs and VLANs, support to segregate a different service or application to different users. And also the antennas are detachable, so if you are looking to kind of extend the signal a little bit further, you're able to do so by removing these antennas and actually upgrading to a higher gain antennas if needed as well.
All right. Well, thank you, Robert. So one other thing I'll add on the TP-Link is that it is a very robust piece of hardware for the price. I know that Travis had mentioned it's SOHO. We do have customers putting it in multiple enterprises. So it's a robust piece. It does certainly operate and function quite well. So Robert had mentioned firmware, and we do manufacture firmware that goes onto the device. Now, really quickly, let me qualify what the firmware does. The firmware turns the access point into what is called a Y client. Now, there's two types of Y clients. Y clients are either a radio by itself, which in TP-Link's case, if you were putting this in, say, 1,000 separate locations with 1,000 separate POPs and 1,000 backhauls over the internet to the WiDirect, then yes, the firmware would be the way to go. The other way to go is, let's say you've got a situation where you've got 5 APs in a location. Then you could also deploy a piece of hardware from AllCity Wireless called a Y client. And what the Y client does is manages those APs. You don't have to flash them all with the firmware, and it handles the connection back to the back to the central Y direct. The beauty of our firmware and our Y client, and in this case moving forward, the Y client architecture, is that you don't need any special backhaul to get back to your centrally managed Y direct. Everything runs over port 80. If you've got internet access at a given location, your Y direct and Y client will communicate, and you can centrally manage those APs or Y clients. And so in that case, it makes this solution 100% completely scalable. It's 100% customizable. And what I mean by customizable is user experience, whether you're going to bill people to use it again, or if you're going to show them ads. If you're going to show them ads and then give them 5 minutes of surfing and then bring them back to an ad, and if you're going to restrict their bandwidth, you can do all this centrally managed and then move it out to the edge simply by configuring your Y direct. And what that does is makes this entire system very cost effective. So in the past, if you were doing a lot of locations, you would have to have a lot of premise equipment, a lot of things for VPNs, VPN concentrators, bring all your bandwidth back to the core, things like that. You don't need to do that anymore. Once someone has authenticated, then they're let out at the local POP. Makes it for a very effective and very low overhead with regard to how the system operates. Once the timer is tripped, say someone's been on the internet for a half hour, you let them out for free, now you want to bill them. That process takes place. Authentication packets head back to the core to make sure that user is properly authenticated again, and then they're out the local POP again. So very scalable, 100% customizable, and very cost effective. Back to the firmware implementation. So if you're, again, putting one access point at one location, you would indeed use the firmware for the TP-Link. And what that involves is downloading the firmware and installing it on the access point. Once that happens, then that access point is a Y client, an individual device that is centrally managed from anywhere in the world to anywhere in the world. As long as it's got internet access, it can connect back to the Y direct, and it doesn't matter if it's behind a natted firewall, if it's behind some sort of security device. As long as it can touch the internet, it can authenticate users, show them their user experience, process credit cards, anything that you need it to do. One quick note on the firmware, it is in beta. It's finishing up right now. It's actually being beta tested in the UK and in the United States, and it will be commercially available the first week of the new year. So quick note there. Centrally managed hotspots. So the beauty of a centrally managed hotspot is that hotspots then can grow rather quickly. And what I mean by grow is you can add them into the hosted solution, or excuse me, the central managed solution very quickly. The Y direct maintains complete control over any device that you add into it. So once that device boots up, knows it's got internet, it tunnels back to the Y direct, says, hey, I'm up, I'm running, give me the parameters for authenticating users, the user experience, all those sorts of things, and then it's running. Then also, if something stops functioning properly, the Y direct will also alert the operators or whoever needs to know, hey, this site's gone down, or hey, this AP's gone down, or hey, we've got too many people logged in at this site, and you can take appropriate measures. So customizable. The GUI on the Y direct or the Y client for that matter is completely brandable. So login screens, if you're reselling this solution to a customer, the login screens, you can put their logo on there. And then of course the user experience is 100% customizable. So one Y direct centrally running, let's just say 10 Y clients around the country. Every Y client can show the same user experience. Everyone can show a different user experience. Everyone can show multiple user experiences in that particular environment. So what I mean by that is, let's say you're in the mall and you're broadcasting 5 SSIDs, and the SSID is, let's just take some very generic examples, the movie theater, the restaurant, and the clothes store. So the Y-Direct can, depending on the SSID you connect to from that access point, give you 3 different user experiences. Maybe the clothes stores has something on sale. Maybe the movie theater, they have their buy tickets here online, right there. And then the Y-Direct will present a Q code on your smartphone that you scan when you get to the theater. And then, of course, the restaurant, here's what's on special today. So that's all centrally managed, and it can be as granular as down to one access point with multiple SSIDs giving multiple user experiences.